So I've done more walking around today, and I finally realized that this place is better than I thought because it's taken me 4 days, but I finally found a place where the main high street, basically. So I did, when you look on Google Maps, you find like the brown areas and you think, okay, well, that's the center. I'm going to go there. And then I spent about 3 or 4 hours walking around every single day. And this time I actually found the main high street, but it's so hard to find because it's not clear where that they are. And getting to the center is so hard. I got completely lost on the way back because although I have a map and I have a phone and I have the blue dot that tells you where you are, if the blue dot is slightly off, because the roads are so close together, if the blue dot is slightly off, you could think, okay, I want to go down this road, and you actually have to watch it, and you have to walk down the road to see if you're actually walking down the right road, because often the blue dot, the roads are so close together that often the blue dot is slightly wrong, and it tells you that you're at a different junction to what you think you are. And quite a few times, I thought, okay, walk straight down this road, going to keep walking, and then I walk down that road, and then suddenly find a completely different in a different place in the map, and it's just like, how did that happen? All I did was walk down the road, and then I realized that it obviously said that I was at a different junction to what I thought I was at, and there's often times where the roads, you say, okay, we have to go down the thicker road, or I'm going to go down the thicker road. And then you realize you're not walking down the thicker road. You're actually walking down the thinner, the thicker roads look like thinner roads on here, and thinner roads, like some of the roads, like this, like there was a turning that looked like a thicker road going round. And no, it looked like the thicker road was going straight and the thinner road was going off. That's how Google presented it. And I was really confused because it was like, that's supposed to be the thicker road, and you look at it and it's literally like a pathway that doesn't even look like cars can fit down it, and then suddenly you see cars going down it, driving extremely slowly because clearly they're going to crash into the road. So I've taken pictures of it to show the cars squeezing through these gaps, and it's just bizarre because you're looking at it on Google Maps and you're like, but that's supposed to be the thicker road, and clearly it's not even a road, and it's like, I don't know, there's on one hand, this place is better because there's got more history and more culture, and it almost feels like you're time traveling back to like the 1700s. I felt like today when I was walking around, it felt like I can imagine London being like this if the Great Fire didn't happen. If the Great Fire in 1666 didn't happen, or 1066, was it 1066? I can imagine 1666, I think it was 1666. I can imagine if that hadn't happened, London would probably be similar to this because people would have bit by bit taken down the wooden houses and built up stone houses in a very similar order, which is that of one that's prepared for walking and for horse and cart in between. So it's really bizarre walking around being like, there's cars here. This is surprising. Like on one hand, it looks like how it would look if it was in the 1800s, probably a bit more metal. There's loads of metal bars to stop people from breaking in, and there's lots of graffiti, and there's loads of shops that look closed down with graffiti all over the walls and stuff. And I don't know, there's a lot of areas that aren't nice, but when you get to the nice areas, it is nice. But it's a challenge to find those areas. And it's interesting because I was looking for a picture of Jesus on the cross, and I found a picture of Jesus on the cross, and I bought it. But it's interesting because if you look closely, it's like, that's not Jesus, that's a woman. I'm pretty sure that's a woman. It says on the bottom, I don't know what that says, Santa Libra. It could be Mary. It looks like someone has just taken, I don't know if you can see the face, but if you look closely on the face, it definitely looks like Mary. But yes, I bought that. So if I want to make a music video, I can use it, but I don't know. It kind of looks a bit like me. I think. Okay, I've got more blonder hair. But anyway, I was thinking, and I did a lot of thinking today, and the important part that I want to say is that I feel like I need to do interviews, and I can do that without the singers and celebrities. Now, I can't do interviews of Christians and all the Christian interviews that I wanted to do, because part of the interviews is getting their response to things And I feel like if I just have if I just get a camera out and say, let's do an interview, they're just going to walk away and say, I'm not talking to you. This is ridiculous. If I do it professionally with a professional company, they'll probably also walk away. But maybe with some money, we can get them to actually talk to me, and I can, look up on their YouTube channels, get a little idea before I have a meeting with them. I'll look up on their YouTube channels, get a grip of all the things that they're saying that I'm saying to them, and stuff, and I'll confront them about this. Why do you think God is talking to you? Why do you think God is telling you this? Why do you think that is the case? And all I'll pick up on some things. I'll watch a couple of their videos, and I'll want them to explain to me why they think this is okay to just lie about me and lie about all the things that I'm saying. To say that the Spirit is influencing them, that's kind of the truth. I feel like the Spirit has created Christianity to build up people's hopes about God the Father, so that when people realize that actually I'm the Christ, and they've not been worshiping the Christ, they've not been worshiping the real one, they've been worshiping Jesus, the Antichrist, and the father of lies, which is Satan. They've been anyone who worships God the Father had been worshiping Satan, because they've been worshiping a God of lies and untruths, and have been deceived by the Jesus figure, which is the Antichrist. And the whole point of Christianity is that when the real Christ comes with her truth, and the singers and celebrities to back up, this is Anna is Christ, they're going to be feeling suicidal for worshiping what they worship. There's a lot of Christian churches here. I love them to be turned into museums. I noticed they were all empty. I hardly ever saw any nuns or Christian, or hardly ever saw anyone in them. There was a couple of tourists looking around, looking like they really wanted to just take pictures of the artwork. But yeah, that was about all there really was here. And I don't know if religion is strong here, but there are a lot of churches and not that many museums. So it would probably be better, even if they want to put in lots of artwork and charge people £1 or £2 to come in and visit the museums, or have a little thing where you pay so much money, and you get them stamped up every time you go into a different church, and it's like a different museum. You can have a little map that shows. I think they had something like that in Athens with all the main things. That's what I would do with the churches. Don't destroy them. Okay, they're all worshipping the Antichrist and they're all nonsense and stuff, but at the same time, they are history. They are interesting artwork. I think they should be seen as artwork, and they shouldn't be destroyed. But yeah, they're not worshipping the real God. They're worshipping the Antichrist and the false lie and stuff. So I would like them to be turned into something more useful, like museums. There are a few museums here, but yeah, a lot of them are like £15-20 to enter, and I just think that's quite expensive. I don't mind paying £1 or £2 to enter a museum, but anyway. So but yes, I've been thinking today about other interviews. So I can't do the Christian interviews, because I wouldn't be able to get Christians to be interviewed. But what I might be able to do, or what I can do, is get my camera recording rolling and just go through all the singers, and just before I press record, I can't render the video. That's the problem. I've seen Jacqueline Glenn's videos where she talks well, and her videos are much more better quality than this and stuff, but I can't do that because rendering each video, a 20-minute video on that camera would take about 2 hours to render. And if it's too long, it just often just shuts down halfway through. And so I have to make 10, with that name video, the name of the Lord video that I made, I had to try and render it about 10 times, and I ended up having to break the video up into 3 sections for me to actually record it. So I am having difficulty making videos, and therefore, but if I just take it straight from the camera, press record, say what I want about the songs and the singers, and then put it on. I've made charts on my YouTube page. Notice I've got some really weird subscribers. I don't know how I've ended up subscribing to the channels that I've got subscribed to. I feel like sometimes I must have accidentally pressed subscribe to a bunch of people that I don't actually follow. But ignore the subscriptions. But all my playlists focus on the angels, and I have a positive name. I think when I want to do interviews, when I go public, I want, first of all, just for me to say all the positive things that link to their positive name. I will say some negative as well, but I would keep to their positive name. and then go later turn into negative names. But because right now I don't feel like I'm being supported by anyone, I would want to make a video documentary of just me talking and me saying why they link to their positive names and why they link to their negative names. Um, I won't be able to go into too much detail because I'll have to keep the videos fairly short, and I'm not going to be able to do any editing on it. You know, if I go through each song and describe each song, you know, that's how I'd really want to do it. But I'm not going to be able to do that because that will involve pausing the video and watching the song and giving sort of more interpretations of each song. But I'm just going to go through the songs and then give a talk about it, maybe a 20-minute to an hour talk about the different singers and why they relate to their names. And you know, I feel like I've inspired their songs, and they mean different things to what the singers meant when they wrote the songs. They would have meant things to be linking in a certain way, but I feel like the songs are all linked to me in different ways. So they could say a line that is about this thing, whereas I would say that line actually relates to something completely different that relates to their hidden name that they've been given. So I want to just give a practice run. I wouldn't see this as the actual interview, because the actual interview I want to be done with like a proper crew, a proper camera crew, a proper production company. And I guess I want to put it on Netflix or something like that. And because the Big Brother idea is now out the question. So I'm trying to, you know, coming up with another way of what I want to do. And I do want a reality show, but I think it should be a reality show based on just interviews and me giving my interpretations of the songs. I think again there will be stages. There'll be a stage where I say that the singers just represent me, and then I can focus on the Christians and say how their religion is all about me, but they reject me and they accept the false Christ, which is Jesus. Hence, they read all the things that Christ is supposed to do, and it all links to me, but they think that it relates to Jesus. And that's the people who wrote the Bible would have done the exact same thing. They made all these prophecies about Christ, but they thought they were talking about Jesus of the past and not Christ of the future. That is me. But yeah, so that'll be stage one. But I can't do these interviews because I need the people to talk to. That they were the main feature of the interviews. But for the second part, you know, I don't know if I'm going to meet the singers. I don't know if I'm ever going to work with them. But I want that to be the second stage where I give them names and say this is why. There might be a stage in between where they just promote themselves as being like, yes, we feel we are angels of Anna, but there needs to be some fake sacrifice. I feel like that still is an important part, because I want people to feel like they have not just rejected me, but insulted me. And then when they start seeing the connections and the huge amount of power that I have through the songs, they will feel like shit for rejecting me and putting me through some fake, or wanting me to go through some fake sacrifice. So, but yes, at that stage, you know, the singers are going to say, actually, yeah, this fake sacrifice was fake, but you know, the real sacrifice is her just being ignored for 11 years and not having one person be able to help her. And then we can expose all the Christian interviews that we did and say, you know what, these are the people that should have been helping me, because these are the people that claim to love and know Christ and, you know, looking out for Christ daily. And yet Christ was right in front of them the whole time, and they refused to believe or accept anything that they said, you know.